You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of mind. A journey into a wondrous land whose boundaries are that of imagination. That's the signpost up ahead. Your next stop, the Twilight Zone.
The air is poisonous. The sky is dark. The sun shines no more.
Hello, Earth citizens. You earthly people. You hollow creations of the one and only Queen of the universe. I have been sent here on this earth with a specific message. I represent the Federation, the Intergalactic Federation of Orion, and I am here to warn you that you need to abandon this earth. We have been waiting and we have been watching. It has been too long since you have been warned. You are the cancer, and we are the cure. I cannot breathe even your air. It's so poisonous to my alien lungs. Excuse me for being so rude, but my name, they call me Klaatu. Klaatu, they call me Klaatu. I'm from the Alpha Draconis star system, and I can change my shape at any given moment, and I can also strangle you right now. I will not do it. I'm here to warn you. From this day until the end of time, you have to make a decision. Abandon this planet so that we can save it. It is not a question of choice. You don't make any choices. Only the one and only Queen of the galaxy make choices. And we obey as we should. And you also should obey. I will guide you through this difficult process. You need to walk the walk. It's a long walk, but I will guide you. I will be there. You will walk hand in hand, hand in hand, into extinction. You will stop reproducing. You will stop thinking. You will stop consuming. And you... Look, I cannot even speak anymore. I'm choking from this poisonous air I'm breathing here. And I don't have much time. So... you will walk with me into extinction. Tomorrow, I'll be waiting there in the local pub. Just get me a few pints and you'll be alright. Alright? Thank you. Thank you for this honor to speak in front of the whole human race. The message have been delivered, you earthly people. Farewell. And get me those feckin' pints, alright? I'm feckin' thirsty. Been traveling for millions of years to get to this wretched, damn piece of rock.
Hey there, travelers, you earthly people, and welcome to my channel. This is my secondary channel, and I'm here to make book reviews. This is the first video concerning a book review. The very first book on this channel will be first of all, a disclaimer first. I have not been sponsored by the publisher or anyone, or from the Intergalactic Federation of the Elders in Andromeda. I'm here to make my own review of this book, The Mountauk Project. Yes, indeed. This is a very important book, and I'm going to tell you why. And by the way, this is the Bulgarian version of the Montauk Project, Experiments in Time. Written by Peter Moon. Co-written by Peter Moon and Preston Nichols. You all know who Preston Nichols is, or if you don't, use the search engine. And I'm going to put a few links below and a few videos at the end of this review. So, this book is important for a few reasons. It's quite an astonishing read, actually. It's a really easy read. It's 300 pages. And it concerns the events around the Philadelphia experiment from 1943. And also with the Phoenix Project, which I will touch on a few minutes after I begin dissecting this book. But the main subject, or the main subjects of this book, are time travel, MK Ultra, mind control, time bending, military industrial complex, conspiracies, but not the type of 9/11 conspiracies or the modern ones. This book has been written and released in 92, I think, originally. Yeah, 92 by Skybooks, the American publisher, the one that Peter Moon is behind and is running. And yeah, it concerns time travel, mind control also, and a few other things which are interesting to discuss. I have this book, and this version, I mean the translation, Bulgarian version, because a friend of mine last year gave it to me to read it. I have been slightly familiar with the Montauk Project in the whole, the whole series, because there are like 5 books in this concerning this topic, and he gave it to me, and this is the second Bulgarian edition, because the first one was released in 2009. It's the first edition of this book has been the first book of the actual publisher, and the name of the publisher is Parallel Reality, or Paralelna Realnost in Bulgarian. And this is expanded edition, actually. So the main story is like 170 pages or so, and the rest of the book is the publisher basically epilogue and a few other stories they put inside. It's like 130 pages. And I need to clarify something. The story of this book can be read as a science fiction, or it's specified on the back if you can read Bulgarian. I'll read you in a second, but it can be read as a science fiction, as a novel, or just a story, or it can be read in other ways. There's no specific guide how to read this book, apart from in the beginning Peter Moon gives some info about the nature of the information given inside. And it's one of those books that makes you think about conspiracies in general. And it's not the positive thing about this book is that it doesn't give you a sense of fear like the conspiracies in recent years are basically designed to do exactly that, like the New World Order, your general psyop. The book, by the way, deals hugely with psyop operations, blacklists and things like that. And in the very end, after the main story, things are getting really messy. It's almost to the point of Star Wars craziness inside. A lot of it's like an extraterrestrial party. They're like throwing a party of alien party. It's really crazy and a bit funny to the point where it's actually enjoyable to read. It's not drilling fear into your brain for some reason, like many authors do nowadays. Anyways, let me just... Oh, and one other thing before I start telling you about this book. This book, the Montauk Project, actually gave birth to a whole movement during the early 90s. The whole conspiratorial movement basically after that, after the release of this book in the States, you have TV shows like the X-Files emerging from nowhere. You know, even some episodes I remember watching X-Files as a youngster. I still enjoy some seasons, but the whole reboot thing, anyways, some episodes in the X-Files are actually directly inspired and almost copy-paste to the point of you know, it's like reading the book and watching the X-Files. It's like, wow, this is the same story. I remember a base, a huge military base, where Agent Mulder was inside, and they were like experimenting with some alien technology, and also time, whatever. Just check the X-Files and you'll see. Also, it gave birth to movies like Back to the Future, later Steven Spielberg made Taken. It's really basically stories very much inspired. I'm not saying these people are ripping off this book and Preston Nichols' story, but it just it unleashed, it triggered such a huge wave of entertainment and stories and movies and TV shows that just boggles the mind. And yeah, let me just read you. I'm going to read this in Bulgarian, obviously, because I want to, and I'm going to put subtitles after that. So, открийте истината за времето. Проектът Монтаук хронологично отбелязва най-невероятният и таен изследователски проект в документираната история. Започвайки с експеримента в Филаделфия от 1943 година, на борда на американския кораб Елдрич били проведени експерименти, целящи невидимост, които довели до пълна телепортация на кораба и екипажа. Последва огромно изследване, продължило 40 години, което кулминирало в странни експерименти на нос Монтаук, които всъщност дали достъп до силите на сътворението и до манипулирането на самото време. Проектът Монтаук свързва модалностите на науката с някои от най-невероятните езотерични техники, които някога сме си представили. И накрая ни изстрелва пред прага на звездите. Всички знаем, че там има нещо, но не сме сигурни какво точно е то. Тази книга най-сетне започва да дава някои сериозни следи. Отидете отвъд научната фантастика. Right. Switching off to English now. So, as you can see, it deals with a lot of paranormal stuff, and yeah, interesting. As I already said it, or I haven't, I'm not sure. Maybe I have been beamed from our outer space. The story in itself is really good to read. It's an easy read. It's like watching a episode of some sci-fi movie or I don't know, TV show. The main story is good, but the prologue and the actual epilogue of this book by the publishers is what gives the book its major importance. I mean, for me at least. I don't know for anyone else who read it, and I presume not many did because it's only in Bulgarian. But still, I know it has been many people here in my country have been interested in this sort of topics, but those are mainly truthers, and I'm not a truther. I'm just interested in general conspiratorial things, but I'm a young person, but I consider myself an old school conspiracy theorist. So, of course conspiracy exists, but just aliens and other stuff. Yeah, maybe on other planets there is some life form, but visiting, I mean, just read this book and you will see. I don't buy the whole alien thing, the agenda, and people from other star systems, reptilians from Sirius or Alpha Draconis, shapeshifters, I see it that way. Aliens are demons, spirits. That's it. It may sound simple, but that's how I see it. It's not because I'm a debunker, or I'm skeptic, or I'm hardcore believer in non-believer in UFOs. No, nothing like that. I'm pretty open-minded, but when it's science fiction, it's science fiction, and you need to differentiate between those. So I will read you the contents first, and I'm going to share a few bits. Of course, I'm not going to tell you how it ends, because that's going to spoil the story, and you can read it yourself. I'm not going to spoil it for you. It starts by Peter Moon, as I said, giving a few words about what the reader is about to deal with, like the amount of information presented to him, and then it starts by the actual experiment Philadelphia, which is really interesting. The Philadelphia experiment has happened in 1943, and the whole thing is they wanted to make the ship Eldridge. That's the name of the ship. There are a few other ships in the story, but yeah, they wanted to make it invisible to the radars of the Nazis and the other enemy. But it so happened that the experiment, wow, an eagle, oh man, that was majestic. Anyways, there are plenty of eagles here. Things got out of hand, and the initial idea to make the ship invisible to the radars, it happened that it became really invisible by a technology they used, and from then on many things happened. Basically, a whole tunnel in time opened, and time bending and stories. It's not that mind-blowing, but it's interesting. So then, after the Philadelphia experiment, Preston discovers that the Montauk base, which is in Long Island, is still operational. That happens in the late 70s, and he was like, he's still working in some or some firm, you know. It's not specified that it's called BJM, and he discovers that there is a signal from the radar. Which radar I'm going to show you in a few bits. It's this one. It's really nicely illustrated. That's the Sage radar, which is used to. I'm not going to say that's spoiler. The radar used to. You'll see. And he then starts sniffing in the base. And from then on, I'm just going to shorten the story because it's a long chapters. And then he starts sniffing in the Montauk base, which is abandoned. And strange things starting to happen. It's like he gets visits from people he does not know. And one day, on the next chapter, there is this guy called Duncan Cameron. Interesting guy. Oh, by the way, if you look videos by Preston, you immediately that the striking thing is that you think about this guy and say to yourself that he's just not right in the head. No? He's crazy, but I don't think he's crazy. He's just interesting guy. I don't know if his story holds any truth. I could be wrong. He could be absolutely crazy, or his story could be very real. But the one thing my opinion about him is, I can say about him is that he knows his craft. He's a electronic guy. He deals with electronics and sort of old tech. He collects. He's antiquarian of electronics, radio stuff, and just watch some videos. And then this guy enters into the story. They go together to the Montauk base, and then they start to have sort of a interesting experiences together. It seems that this guy Duncan Cameron is I'm going to just call him Duncan, has been programmed to go to his house and blow his laboratory, blow his lab, because reasons. And but then he got deprogrammed, and they start working together towards the truth. And then the project Moonbeam happens, which is very interesting. Preston basically starts having memories of past lives and whatnot, and he remembers things from other lives, and soon he discovers that he has a secondary existence, and etc. Then he gets fired from his job, and then there's a chapter about Wilhelm Reich, and this concerns the project Phoenix, the Phoenix project, which deals with climate control, controlling the climate and things like that, which is interesting. And then Project Phoenix, Swallows, Project Rainbow. Project Rainbow is the initial name of the Philadelphia project. It's a top secret name for it. And then the core subject of the Montauk, the Project Montauk, is the chair. Yes, the actual chair which the magic happens. Through this chair, they sit. I mean, just one guy sits, Duncan. This guy Duncan, and he just really shorten the story. He sits in this chair, sort of meditates through, surrounded by various technologies that Preston helped design and implement, and also these technologies are given by alien races and things, shenanigans and other things like that. And he meditates, and through his mind, because he's he has abilities, let's just put it that way. He's a seer. Yeah, seer sounds great. And he opens portals to different timelines and parallel realities. If the theory is that if this reality exists, then there has to be other parallel universes, parallel realities, that myself exist also in these other parallel realities, and what happens with myself in this other reality can maybe affect me, or what happens with me can affect my other selves. It goes until infinity. And the chair is very important. And after that, they start bending time. They go to the Mars at some point, and the whole thing about Mars is that there are underground bases, and these bases cannot be reached by anyone, because there was an ancient civilization billions of years ago, I don't know, and they left technology inside those bases, and there are pyramids there, which is connected to other things, and also about the face of Mars play some minor role. But there are bases there, and they open the portals, presumably, to go to these underground bases and investigate. Preston and the other guy, the other important, Al Bilek, which plays a huge role in this story. They go together, and a few other teams, and they explore. And one of the subjects that they share is that there's a defense system that on Mars, basically, that is defending the whole solar system. I don't know, which sounds really out there. There were many movies made concerning Mars, and they claim that these movies are the publishers, they claim that these movies have been inspired by actual events that happened in the Project Montauk in 1943. And then when they, in the process of experimenting with time time travel and things of that nature. Duncan, sitting on the chair, meditating and opening portals and whatnot, manifests a beast. They call it the beast. I know. Yeah, the beast. It's not Aleister Crowley. No, it's not. But great beast, and this beast starts wrecking everything in the base, and they panic. Everyone panic, and they just want to save the base, and they cut cables, burn things, break things, just so that this beast can disappear in the ether. And he does, but it's legend. The legend is saying that this beast is still there, roaming the empty halls of Montauk. So beware. And then the base gets sealed, and after that, this Montauk today, well, that deals with what has been left. They presumably emptied everything, killed everyone, and sealed the base, and filled it with concrete so that no one could dig. Sealed. Then Dr. von Neumann comes, which he's an interesting specimen, this guy. You can see videos by him in YouTube as well. And then Preston gives an analysis to the radio drill, which is an interesting, but it's put there mainly for look, these sort of things for people concerned with electrical currents, and for people studying electronics and technology and stuff like that. It's a lot of math, and it's not for the reader, for the general reader. They specify it in the book. And then there's that's basically these are the appendices. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 appendices. Then a small segment about Wilhelm Reich, the Austrian scientist, very familiar with the orgone energy, and they use him basically for his research, and he gives his technology because he doesn't care. Presumably, they say here, he only cares for the scientific part of the whole thing. And then there's the control, the mind control, and the war in the Gulf, the Persian Gulf. And then there's a small segment about Nikola Tesla, which he plays some part there. And then the final, I lied. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 appendices. After the Tesla small segment, there's the story of the Philadelphia experiment. It's a basically mixture of the Montauk base and the whole Philadelphia project. It's sort of a few final words. And then there's the quantum levels of existence according to Preston Nichols. And there's a small dictionary with the terms, the scientific terms given. If anyone is confused, there's this where's the dictionary? It's very interesting. The definition of biorhythm is really interesting. let me read it to you, and then I read it in Bulgarian. I'm going to put subtitles. Biorhythm or biorhythm. Това е езотеричен термин и се отнася до всяка редовно повтаряща се жизнена функция в даден организъм. Биоритъмът най-добре се разбира с понятията на ориенталската енергия Чи, която е жизнената сила, регулираща цялото тяло. Акупунктурата се занимава с биоритмите, за да постигне изцеление. Когато на една планета се гледа като на организъм, биоритмите включват всички функции, които правят живота възможен и ги регулират. Сезоните, ротацията на Земята и въртенето на галактиката, всичко това се взема в предвид. За легендарни места като Стоунхендж се смята, че са в хармония с биоритмите на планетата. And definitions like amplitude, tone, phase, what is radio wave, what is frequency, what is a cycle, what is megahertz, general stuff from the textbook. Anyone studying electronics? I haven't, so but I still read every single word in this book. So the delta T antenna is really interesting. It stands for delta time, and that's basically it needs in order for the time to be bent, and in order to open wormhole, or the time to bend time, you need such an antenna. Preston gives his knowledge to devise one, design one, and he does. Then after this dictionary, there is the most important part, which I read twice now of this book. The publisher. I have a few other books by the publisher. Parallel Reality. They have a website. I'm going to put the link below. They write really well, and they put a lot of emphasis on writing. There's in the beginning even things how they started writing, releasing books, and dealing with such topics such as this controversial topics, and how people are perceiving them. But they write quite well, and they put a lot of effort for their views to express them in the epilogue and prologue. And they went in, that's what they write here, in 2012 to meet Preston and Peter Moon in the States, in the base. And that's really interesting. It's all here. And then there's two stories sort of from people known to the publishers. I think they're anonymous. I'm not sure, I have to check. And they give their personal accounts of some experiences, some paranormal, supernatural things that happen, mainly concerning their dreams. It's very interesting to read. And then there's the hidden traps of time travel. That's again a few words by the publishers, really concise, really on point, straight to the point. And then there's the story about Aubilek, who is a really mixed character. He claims to be, he claims to be, how should I put it? First had a personality which it's not. I mean the Aubilek personality it's not his real personality. His original one is the brother of Duncan, Edward Cameron, which he sort of was transferred to his consciousness in his body, and then he became Aubilek, the guy today. He died in 2011. But yeah, these sort of things, you know. And you can read about Albilik and watch many lectures and interviews on YouTube. And then there are 3 interviews with Albilik, Preston, and Duncan, which are absolutely mind-blowing for anyone interested in these sort of questions, topics. And after that it's the final words, which, if I have time, I'm going to read them to you. Of course, in Bulgarian, I will put subtitles. I hope you enjoy my reading. Here goes. The air is poisonous. The skies are dark. The sun shines no more.
She's just like a science fiction, that's what she is. A regular Ray Bradbury. 6 humans and 1 monster from outer space. You wouldn't happen to have an eye in the back of your head, would you?
I find you offensive, do you know that?
I can tell you what's going to happen. We're all going to get so panicky that everyone and his brother will start picking up invisible clues from everybody else. This is nonsense.
Well, of course it's nonsense if a husband and wife suddenly start wondering whether the husband is really the husband and the wife is really...
Now, wait a minute. I think 23 years is long enough for a woman to know who she's married to. So I'll thank you to stop looking at me as if I'd just put on this face as part of a costume.
I love this. She don't know who he is. He don't know who she is. We don't know who she is. And this lemon sucker here, he's the most suspicious of the bunch.